Welcome to Endeavour's Founder Stories, the podcast that explores the origin stories of groundbreaking startups and the visionary entrepreneurs behind them. In this episode, we meet Dov Girnun, founder and CEO of Merchant Capital, a business transforming access to working capital for South Africa's small businesses. Merchant Capital provides fast, flexible finance for growing SMEs, enabling them to invest, expand, and build resilience in challenging environments. With its data-driven risk models and a commitment to speed and simplicity, Merchant Capital helps entrepreneurs unlock opportunity on their own terms. We asked Dov about his background, the inspiration and the values that moved him to build Merchant Capital and support entrepreneurs.
That I come from a massive family of entrepreneurs. My father's uncles, cousins, brothers, all of us are entrepreneurs. And the school that I went to, for some reason, I'm not sure if they put something in the water, it just breeds entrepreneurship and entrepreneurs. So for me, it was actually never a question. I always knew that I had to be in an environment where I could push the boundaries. And pushing the boundaries as an entrepreneur is exactly what you need to do. It was something that I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do, but I always knew that I wanted to be in business and I wanted to be in something where I could grow something which would be impactful to other people. So mentioning the London experience, that was my first job out of university. So I did an economics and kind of business degree at Wits University and had no idea what I wanted to do. So I got a job in a profession that, you know, at the time I thought was a way to make the most amount of money, and that was working in the markets, and I joined a hedge fund. I quickly realized that actually that was not what my meaningful purpose was. And every year that became more and more apparent, and I knew that I wanted to do something where I could create an impact, leave a legacy, be in a leadership position where I could inspire people around me, and came back to South Africa and started then kind of looking for opportunities that would then scratch that itch, which became apparent in my mid to late 20s that is what I wanted to do. So that was really the founding principle of wanting to start my own business. The story about Merchant Capital and how that was started is another story. When you're the founder of a business, I often say I've got 2 kids, and I often say Merchant Capital is like my 3rd kid. So it's very difficult to delineate yourself between your business and your personal life. What I have managed to do, and being quite disciplined around it, is having the capacity and time to follow other passions. I think any job is very stressful, so I've found that a great release of that from an endorphin point of view is exercise. So for me, exercise is absolutely non-negotiable. I often say to people, if I haven't exercised in the morning, I'm a horrible person, and I apologize. So I'm probably doing some form of activity every single morning or every single day. And then seeing the world, and traveling, seeing different cultures, having different experiences, being out of your comfort zone. That's one of my passions, and it's something that I really enjoy and have had the privilege of doing. And then I've kind of also, of late, been swept up by the whole biohacking wellness thing. So I've got a sauna and an ice bath at home, and I try and spend some time doing the cold and hot immersion, and whether it's a placebo or not, it works very well for me. It helps with endorphins and mood and stress and all those type of things. So I really try and whatever I do full tilt. I never do anything half pregnant. I probably need to cool down a little bit on the ice plunging and saunas, but at the moment it's working. It's a little bit difficult in the current weather to get into 4 degrees. You need to be pretty tough mentally. I've been in Merchant Capital now for 13 years. The business before that I was in for 6 years. So it's not like I've done lots of different things and exited and moved on or whatever. So I'm an entrepreneur, but certainly not a serial entrepreneur. So I think trying things and failing is a key ingredient and recipe in being a successful entrepreneur. I think it also depends on the kind of business that you build. I realized from day one that I have and had certain skills, certain strengths and weaknesses, and I was never arrogant enough to believe that my weaknesses could be enhanced. So I knew I needed to find a partner who would really complement my strengths and weaknesses. So my co-founder in the business, Dan Moritz, was exactly that. You know, we were kind of yin and yang. I always say that he was the guy who would put my ideas into an Excel spreadsheet. And, you know, he was exceptional at doing that. And, you know, thankfully, I'm privileged to say 13 years later, we've had this incredible symbiotic relationship, and we've never had a fallout, we've never had a fight. We've had some robust conversations and debates, but always just been very honest and transparent with each other. So I think that would be the first thing. The second thing, and I've told this story before, is that when we started Merchant Capital, from day one, I called ourselves a fintech, because you had to be called a fintech, right, to be cool. The truth is we were fin and not very tech, and everything was built and based on an Excel spreadsheet. And then after about 5 years in business, I thought, well, we're calling ourselves a fintech, we actually better muscle up and become a bit more of a real fintech. So I then embarked on a journey in finding the best chief technology or technology officer in the country. And, you know, I came across a guy by the name of Dave Reinders, and I'll never forget, it was a profound inflection point for me in a business. I remember interviewing him, and I thought, this is the perfect guy. I think he's probably the best CTO in the country. And he said to me, Dov, I love the idea. I've bought into your story. I want to be a part of it, but I got 3 kids in private school, and I need to earn X. And I remember looking at him, and I did quick arithmetic, and I worked out that it was double what I was earning at the time. It was about, I said, Dave, I'll come back to you. It was a 10-minute kind of decision between myself and my other co-founders, and we hired Dave there and then. And probably for about 18 months or 2 years, he earned double than what I was earning. You know, we eventually got to equilibrium, but in retrospect, he's been with us now for probably close on 10 years. It was the best decision we ever made, because it was hiring the best that we could afford. Notwithstanding the fact that he was earning double what the CEO and founder was earning, it was irrelevant. It was the right decision at the right time. And then we've bolstered up our executive leadership team. We now have an MD in the business, Nikki, who is just phenomenal and exceptional at doing the things that actually I'm not very good at. So she's exceptional at process and systems and kind of operations, and because she has got such safe hands from that perspective, she's allowed me to really leverage off the things that I'm good at. And that would be creating a leadership team where one's skills are complemented, they're diverse, and it gives the ability of each executive leader on that team to really leverage their strengths. So I think if you had to ask my team, they would say that I don't enjoy waffle. Like, tell me the bottom line up front and come with a solution, you know, tell us bad news fast. I also think that when we hire people, we expect a level of maturity, and we treat them like adults. And I think in addition to that, because there's this level of trust, I'm able to really delegate quite comfortably. And I think that is a leadership skill that not everyone has, because I don't like to micromanage, and, you know, if you mess up, then obviously there's consequence and a conversation to be had. But, you know, we expect people that we put in senior positions to be able to follow through on those type of things. So I want people in the leadership team to be able to challenge me. You know, we don't want any yes men and women. We want people to be able to have robust debates, discussions, you know, give different and diversity of opinions. I also think that it's important to, you know, what we say is that we take the business very seriously, but we don't take ourselves very seriously. So we have a lot of fun, we laugh, good place for people to work, and really feel that they can grow and prosper, not only professionally, but also on a personal basis.
Beyond his role as CEO, Dov believes leadership means showing up for your team every day. At Merchant Capital, that philosophy lives through open conversations, trust, and a culture built on 5 core values: excellence, entrepreneurship, safe hands, win-win, and consideration. As he meets with the team to plan their next big campaign, you'll see how those values guide everything, from small decisions to bold, ambitious moves for South Africa's entrepreneurs.
There's different seasons to building a business and being the leader of a business. So I've always really thought that at every stage of my career and business growth that I can always learn more. Surrounding myself by people who are smarter than me, and actually really that business is about people, and therefore caring deeply about your culture and the people around you and how you inspire them and get the most out of them is actually where you create real success. That, together with what I alluded to initially around being a leader that knows that I definitely don't know everything, and on this constant life journey of just wanting to learn more and kind of further myself in whatever sector that is, I think that's what's been really important as a leader. So I think maintaining perspective is probably one of the superpowers of successful entrepreneurs. And I have by no means mastered it. So I'll share a very personal story, which I think has reminded me and hopefully reminds the people who are listening to this just around perspective. So last year, my mom got ill. She was diagnosed with a brain tumor. Thankfully, it all turned out very well. It was operable, it wasn't cancerous, and she's now doing fantastically well. She's a real inspiration because her attitude around it was just phenomenal. But one perspective that I want to share is I'll never forget thinking when I used to drive home from the hospital, because she had it removed and she was in ICU for about 15 nights after the op. And I'll just remember, it's funny, you become very close to the doctors and the neurosurgeon there, and these guys are absolute lifesavers. I just used to think, driving home at night, what this guy has to deal with in a day just gave me the most incredible perspective, because I often used to come home at night and I would say to my wife, I'm so stressed and work is so hard and I'm dealing with these people issues, and actually they were so trivial compared to the stuff that this guy or doctors in general had to deal with. And I remember driving home at night and saying to myself, Dov, you will never complain that you're stressed out from job anymore. So now, not to say that I don't let work stress me out, but I always have that perspective reality check to say, actually, it's not that bad compared to, relative to what other jobs and other vocations and other people need to do. Having perspective like that is really important. There's been lots of hard moments, so I can't pinpoint one of them. COVID was an extremely challenging time for everyone, but it was specifically challenging for us as a business because at the time, I would say 95% of our client base was deemed non-essential.
After more than a decade building Merchant Capital, Dov still sees the mission as deeply personal. Every entrepreneur deserves someone to believe in their potential, and every community needs champions for growth. As Dov reflects on Merchant Capital's journey so far, he shares a final commitment to keep backing the small businesses that keep South Africa moving forward.
The opportunity to help entrepreneurs in South Africa has probably been the biggest gift for me, because the SMEs are the lifeblood and the driving force of the South African economy. They are the ones that create economic activity in the country, and that's actually the thing that's going to solve the systemic issues that our country is facing. And by the way, that's not unique to South Africa. In most emerging markets, that's what you'll find, is that the SMEs and entrepreneurs are responsible for the majority of the economic activity in the business. So what a privilege for us to be able to be the conduit, to be able to assist these businesses to grow and create a multiplier effect. And just to use like one silly example, if we can help a restaurant owner with access to working capital, which means that they can do some marketing or hire a new chef or open up a new branch or whatever it may be. That means that he can take his waiting staff from 6 to 10. You know, that delta, those incremental four waiters that he can hire, they will each have three family members. I'm using a law of averages here. You know, that's an extra 12 people that you're helping. And then just the multiplier effect of those kids going through school and having an opportunity, it just becomes hugely impactful. So we've now funded over 60,000 SMEs. My maths isn't good enough to do it on the fly, but can you imagine the multiplier effect that we've had the privilege of helping? And that's my team. You know, that is really kudos to the merchant capital business. That is true impact, and that is true impact for me, because being an SME ourselves, being an entrepreneur myself, I understand that you just need someone to take a chance and take a view on you and believe in what it is that you're looking to do, and then kind of the world is your oyster. You know, have this incredible multiplier ripple effect which just creates huge economic activity, and I believe would allow South Africa to reach the heights that it can reach.
Dov Girnun's journey with merchant capital is a testament to the power of backing small businesses and the communities they sustain. At Endeavour, we continue to celebrate and support high-impact founders driving meaningful change. Thank you for joining us on Founder Stories, where entrepreneurial dreams fuel real-world impact.